And at this point in time, we've been at it for probably about 10 minutes. Now we're going to have to edit this down. I think the 10 minutes, we'll see. This is still a test run. Now, if you hear water running occasionally, it's because I'm cleaning up my cooking utensils as I go. I lost my intern last week. He died of food poisoning, and it really upsets me, so I have to clean things as I go. I'm just kidding. Okay, you can see that we're seeing that the kale is wilted, and now's a good time to start the process of mixing the kale with that which is underneath it, but I'm only working on the upper half of this. I don't want to make this brain surgery. But I want to take a glom down there. Yes, I still have water. You still see there's water down here. And this starts to distribute some of the balsamic vinegar. And you can see that the kale is starting to shrink in volume. It will do that. I've never benchmarked it, but I'd say at least 50%, 30 to 50% maybe, which most greens do. Okay? And I'm pressing the kale down into the water mixture where the stems are, because I want the stems to be nice and tender. But you can see the volume of the kale has already decreased significantly. Okay? There we go. Let's cover this up. I'm at a medium high heat and a simmer. And I usually keep some water nearby in case it starts to get dry, but a cup, half a cup. Now you don't have to use just water. I also use wine, vermouth, leftover beer, if there's any left over. Any liquid will do at this point. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and check our kale again. Now you can see it's really starting to wilt down. This is a good sign. And at this point, this is when I start to mix it all together. And the kale will darken as it cooks, especially with the addition of the balsamic vinegar. So now I'm mixing the kale from the bottom up. Okay? And you can see the stems that are tender, and you can see this is drastically reducing in size. Okay, and if you look down at the bottom of this, still some water there, which is great. Some liquid. I'm sorry. Pot liquor. Anyone out there know what pot liquor is? No, it's not something I have outside in the still. Pot liquor is the liquid left over from cooking greens, and it's what the slaves used to covet back in the old days in the South, because that's where all the nutrition was from cooking your greens. It was in the pot liquor. In this case, we're using the concept of pot liquor to help us steam our greens. Now, this is not brain surgery. Now, like anything else, it's good to take a couple tries at it, until you get a feel for it. But the same technique will work for any green. Okay, collards, you got to be a little more diligent because they're usually tougher, depending upon how old they are when you get them and how big they are. But you can see all the steam coming up right now. And so this is why we have a top. I can't believe anyone would cook this without a cover. You can see the brown parts. This is where the balsamic vinegar is, but it'll be everywhere in a little while. Okay, and then we still want this to steam. So we'll put our top back on. Now, as you get closer towards the end of your cooking, you want to monitor your kale a little more. By the way, this technique is written up in my book, Heart Healthy Pizza, for greens in general, because there is a pizza that is comprised largely of mixed greens. And you can see that the kale is getting darker now. That's the influence of the balsamic vinegar. That's the acidity that's being spread throughout this. And here's another trick now, guys and gals. Thermodynamics, okay? There's water, liquid pot liquor at the bottom. And so I'm making a little well here. And so I know that will bubble and steam all this when I cover it. So that increases the cooking of the kale, decreases the amount of energy, and it's just a neat trick. Again, that's why I like to use something like a large wok for this kind of process. This wok, for what it's worth, I hate to say this again, big box store, $5. Now, I have a more expensive wok. A friend has carved it up, non-stick wok. You could use a regular wok that's seasoned, but this works well for me.